Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
I already mentioned about this, selecting an operating system. Which kind of VM that you want to create? Linux VM, Windows VM, right? Even in case of Windows, what is the image type that you want to use? You want to use 2016, 2019. Even within each of these members, you have number of minor versions as well. You can decide which kind of VM you want to create here. You can go to your Azure Marketplace. Now, this is a very important aspect which I want to showcase. If I go to Azure Marketplace, this is an area where there are maximum number of deployments being done. The maximum number of commits which is done by partners. Based on their experience, based on the kind of applications they have built, the problems they have faced. They don't want other vendors or other service providers to come across the same scenario. Secondly, they will also want to provide. This is also a revenue stream for them. Once they have hosted their applications as a host of their images over here, it can be a revenue source for them. And here you can see a pricing model as pay as you go model, right? Or we can get our own license over here. Some of these could also be for free. You can see there are 3000 and above pre-existing templates that you may want to work with, rather than you having to decide what will be the base element for it. What is the minor version, major version of other services which will have to deploy? Right. It is easier for us to go ahead, create these resources and start working with it. In that scenario, I don't have to worry about the installation configuration of all these components. Configuration. Yes, some part of it, but major part of configuration is already being done by the vendor and that's what they're charging for. As far as Microsoft is concerned, Microsoft does not have a major role to play. Now, why am I saying that? What Microsoft says is, I will charge you for the infrastructure that you are consuming. I will charge you for CPU, RAM or what kind of machine that you are creating. I will not charge you for the components inside the machine. The components inside the machine will be charged by the partner. Right. And that will be as a separate bill. It's not part of Microsoft billing. That is your association with between your organization and the partner organization. It's not part of Microsoft. Does it make sense for everyone? Like what kind of components you are talking? Like what kind of VM you are using? Like what kind of VM you are using? That will be one. Second is the cost of SnapCloud itself. That vendor will charge you $2 per hour. there will be two components in your bill. One is the Microsoft bill, which I just showed you, and second is the Snap Cloud charges. God, thank you. Microsoft says, if you can bargain from them, I don't have a problem there. Go ahead, talk to the vendor directly. Yes, they are Microsoft partners. They are reliable, but from a costing perspective, you can have your own agreements with them and we can go ahead without any problem. Like the answer Dropbox, right? Sorry, can you repeat that? Dropbox. Yes, I'm not sure if Dropbox fits in here. Drop basically the SaaS service, right? If you are quitting it on a VEM Dropbox on a VEM, then it will be absolutely correct. These are like apps, right? Where you can use the apps and you just pay for their services. That's how it's. These are right. No, it's not that way. These are not apps. I think this is like a service desk or something which is deployed in the cloud, something like that. No, not correct. It's a virtual machine. It is running in your environment. The software is developed by somebody else, but it is running in your environment. It has operated. When you see a service, it is running outside in that platform and you have to pay as per the license. These are not licensed solutions. This is where it is running in your environment. You have to pay the infrastructure cost and you also have to pay the software cost. That person something like this. I have Cloud Bolt software, which is a hybrid solution. This is a software which is being built, which can help you manage your deployments on Azure, Google Cloud, Alibaba, Cloud 4 or 5 cloud vendors. That software is has a cost, right, but the software cannot run in air. It has to have a VIM behind it. Microsoft is charging you for the VIM and Cloud Bolt is charging you for the software. Is it clear? If I give another example, if I have to purchase a laptop, right? I have got the laptop for myself, but on that laptop, I have to install Word, Excel, PowerPoint, right? I have to pay for it. I have to pay for the laptop cost. I also have to pay for the Office and I have to install it on my machine. It's like that or Visual Studio. Very This was a quick look in terms of what are the options available on Marketplace. Now, if you have a great admin team with you and you know that with some attempts, I can build this environment myself, go ahead, create your own custom image and using this custom image, once you build this custom image, you can create more number of VMUs based on that custom image. Now moving further, if you look at the next resource over here, that is storage for your virtual machine. I will have number of options over here. The first thing that we will begin with in case of machines will be your operating system or your disk. Apart from this, you can attach additional disks over here like F disk, Z disk, O disk, whatever disks you want to add over here. Now, all these resources that we are creating will be stored onto a managed disk or you can store it within an Azure blob. That's your choice. D drive is also given to you by Azure, which is free of cost, but it is recommended not to store anything on that disk. Right, in terms of disks that you want to create, a disk that you want to attach over here, or this that you want to use over here. It could be head, which is SATA disks, or you can use standard Premium SSD, or you can go for Ultra SSDs. You can create red disks over here, right? It's up to you. How do you want to create those resources when you are creating these VMs? What is recommended right now by Microsoft is managed disk. Please be careful. The costs are higher once it comes to manage this as compared to your unmanaged disk, unmanaged instance. This is where we will have to create our storage account. We will have to specify the path where you have to save this for backing up your environment, backing up the resources. You will have to take care of your storage account. You have to take care of the replication. All these things we will have to do as part of unmanaged disk, whereas once it comes to manage disk reliability, security, all these things is taken care by Microsoft. I don't have to explain this part. I already have mentioned earlier how networking resources, your storage, is attached over here with your virtual machines. Before I go to the next topic, that is high availability, I would want to create a virtual machine here quickly and show you how to attach disks over here and how do we check this inside our machine. I have already shown in the last demo how do I create a virtual machine over here, and while creating the machine, how do I attach number of resources from networking. This example, which I am doing, I will not want to take that same approach because of the time constraints. I'll quickly create all the components the same flow. Let me name it, create a new resource, loop over here. Name it as server RG. Let me take up a Windows VM. Windows Server 2019, Data Center D2. Let me mention my name here. Password allows selected ports. Here, if you'll see now, my current focus with this example is showcasing the disk types. You have Premium SSD. This is in terms how do I decide whether to go for SSD or not. It will totally depend upon what is the kind of input output per second that you would want. That will be the primary factor of your decision over here. By default, what we are mentioning over here is those disk. If you go to advanced section here you'll get the option for manage disk. If you uncheck this, it will create an unmanaged disk. If you look at the features or benefits of managed disk, performance, reliability, scalability, right? This is something which Microsoft provides you once you go for the first time to go to advanced section. Here we will have to manage it to be a managed disk. From management perspective, it becomes easier when we are working with managed disk. Let's go ahead, attach a new disk over here. Source type empty disk. 1 TB Premium says. Let me change this to head depending upon whatever size you want. By default, Every disk that you create is, by default, encrypted with the Azure key. If you want to modify that with your custom key, you can do that as well. I'll come to this section later once we discuss about the security part. I have a data disk being attached. Different set of organizations would use different approaches over here. Some organizations might want, again, based on the workload. Organizations decide whether they want a disk to be says to have a faster boot time. Or you want to have the data disk sized. That's your choice, right? Again, totally depends on what kind of workload that you have let. Let me quote an example. Many organizations which are going for a school workload, they would want their data disk to be says. Even if the host machine takes some time to boot it, but once it is booted, when I'm doing data read, right, in those scenarios I want to have a CEST for a data disk. Let's go ahead networking. Here I have one disk being attached, data disk, and there is one as disk. How many disks will I have over here? Finally, how many disks we will have? Finally, we will have 3 disks over here. One is the OS disk, second is the DA disk that we have attached, and third is a temporary disk. Remember we mentioned about it. There will be 3 disks over here. Now, while you are creating your machine, you can schedule it for shutting down, or you can also write your automation script to start the machines on a specific time. Please be careful, this is only for dev test scenarios. If you are going for production environment, this is not required because there you will not be shutting down the machines. For your Vim protection, Vim security, you can install anti-malware or anti-virus software over here. What this will do is, this will automatically create your resources in terms of virtual, in terms of networking options, network interface card. It will automatically create 2 managed disks over here, one for us disk, one for data disk, and once all these things are being done, we will be able to see these resources within our resource group. Click we have got. The virtual network created public IP network security group, and you can see a data disk over here. Right, you can see 2 disks over here. One is data disk and second is the OS disk. And both of these are managed disks. And that's why it is not going in the storage account. It's directly being created as a separate entity over here. I have my virtual machine. It is still in the creation process. Once the status is running, you can go ahead, log inside this machine. This is done. Let me connect to this machine. Check for the disks which has been created over here. Depending upon what type of OS disk that you have chosen, it might take some time to load these basic settings and get the environment ready. Since we are using a server OS server operating system, it will take us to Server Manager. Let me go to Windows Explorer. And if I see the disks over here, there are only two disks available, C drive and D drive. If you go to your temporary storage, it clearly says that you should not be saving any details or any information on this disk. Microsoft does not charge you separately for this temporary storage. Now I should have one more disk over here. Now I should have one more disk over here which I am not able to see because that is attached as a disk. But it is an unformatted disk. You will have to go to your server manager, and here you should be able to see the new disk which has been attached. Right. Two disks are online over here. One disk is online, and the next disk that you see, this is not being formatted. Though it shows online, it is not being formatted and attached. What we can do is, like how you get a new disk, new hard disk from market, and you attach to your machine. Right. We have to do the same thing over here. We have to format this disk, whatever volume size you want. Whatever is the drive letter you want to map it to, that's up to you. Whatever volume name you want to specify. And click on Create. Does it make sense for everyone? How do you attach a new disk to your machine? Now you will be able to see F, and within F drive, whatever data you want to. Shina may have worked with this earlier because he has done. Here we are. For others, great. Gopi joining a bit late. I'm good. I'm good. This is how you work with your machine. Attach a disk over here. And here you can see the data disk. You can see the OS disk over here. Once we are done with this, let me go ahead. Shut down this machine. Cover your machine. Look into some systems. With managed D, if I take an SLL or something which means a path to our machine, We will try. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.